Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. November 2nd, 2017.
The Kuhner Report, presented by Kelly Financial Services.
Okay, my friends, a major announcement tomorrow at 2:35. Don't want to miss it. Trust me when I tell you this. I'm back, my friends. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, obviously the big story while the Kuhner man was away at a funeral for a very close friend. Okay, can you hear me now? Yeah? Okay, good. All right, so I just want to, apparently there was a problem with the sound coming in. All right, my friends, big announcement tomorrow at 2:35. You do not want to miss it. Trust me. We also will have a special show this Saturday, 9 a.m. live, from 9 a.m. until noon. Please tune in to WRKO AM 680. I will be live on the air. You don't want to miss it. Okay, I was away for a funeral for a very, very dear friend. Much more on that later. While I was away, obviously the big story, ISIS struck New York City in the heart of New York. Seyfulo Seipov, an Uzbek national who was admitted into this country from Uzbekistan, that's in Central Asia, a huge Muslim hotbed, through the the diversity visa lottery program. He came in 2010. He was admitted, and it's obvious that he was planning this attack for a very, very long time. He rented a Home Depot truck, and ISIS style, like they've done in France, like they've done in England, like they've done in Sweden, and in countries all over, in Canada, he used the truck, he weaponized it, and mowed down pedestrians and cyclists on a bike path right near the Hudson River. 8 are dead, 12 are wounded, one of them so seriously this person has had to have a double amputation. It is an absolutely horrific terrorist attack, an Islamic terrorist attack. And from the get-go, amazingly, Mayor Bill de Blasio, ultra-liberal. Governor Andrew Cuomo, ultra-liberal. Immediately called it a lone wolf attack within minutes of the news. Within minutes. And I'm asking myself, how do you know? Like, how do you know? The bodies are still lying on the ground. And you're already claiming that this was some kind of a lone wolf attack when you have no evidence to say such a thing? And now it's coming out. ISIS has been deliberately exploiting our diversity visa program to enter the United States. In fact, from Uzbekistan itself, just one of the stands, an Uzbek national in Sweden just a couple years ago exploited their immigration loopholes to penetrate Sweden and launched a devastating vehicle attack in that country, killing several people. In Brooklyn, a couple years ago, 2 Uzbek nationals and one from Kazakhstan plotted to launch a devastating terrorist attack, as I said, in Brooklyn. So what they have now done is they have used this program, which was created, of all people, by Senate Minority Leader Chuck U. Schumer. He is the one who created this diversity visa program called a lottery program. And what is the basis of this program? This program was created by Chuck U. Schumer to bring in immigrants from countries around the world where we don't take immigrants from historically. In other words, it has nothing to do with skills, with merit, with education, with know-how. Literally, it's, we have very few immigrants from Uzbekistan, bring them in. We have very few from Mongolia, bring them in. We have very few from, I don't know, Tanzania. Bring them in. What their backgrounds are, irrelevant. Whether they can contribute to American society, irrelevant. All of it is irrelevant. Just bring them in. The more, the merrier. In other words, had we had a sane immigration policy that did thorough and proper background checks and vetting, that actually brought in people based on their skills, on their education, on their merit, this guy would never have entered the United States. None of this need have happened. And so President Trump rightly says it is time to end the diversity visa program immediately. Roll it, Brittany.
I am today starting the process of terminating the diversity lottery program. I'm going to ask Congress to immediately initiate work to get rid of this program. Diversity and diversity lottery. Diversity lottery sounds nice. It's not nice. It's not good. It's not good. It hasn't been good. We've been against it. So we want to immediately work with Congress on the diversity lottery program, on terminating it, getting rid of it. We want a merit-based program where people come into our country based on merit. And we want to get rid of chain migration. This man that came in, or whatever you want to call him, brought in with him other people. And he was the point of contact, the primary point of contact for, and this is preliminarily, 23 people that came in or potentially came in with him.
Bingo. Bingo. It's not just that we have to bring in people from all over the world in the name of diversity and compassion and tolerance, whether they're good for America or not. But the ISIS has now clearly exploited the diversity visa program to penetrate the United States, to infiltrate the United States. And what was done is this guy, Seyfullo Saipov, not only when he came into when he came in from Uzbekistan into the United States, he sponsored through chain migration 23 that we know of, other people, friends, family members, associates, they all came in. We don't know their backgrounds. We don't know their ties to radical Islamic terrorism. And if you think about it, that's just one man. That's just one man. Look at the others that have been coming in through this diversity visa program that ISIS has been infiltrating. How many more ISIS terrorists we have inadvertently allowed to come into our country? And so what we need to do right away, and I don't care what the ACLU says, I don't care what the liberals say, I don't care what Chuck U. Schumer and the Democrats say, all 23 members that were sponsored by this Islamist savage, this animal, should be deported, rounded up, and deported back to Uzbekistan on the spot. On the spot. This guy was your point of contact? This guy was your primary sponsor? And furthermore, the claim now that is coming from the liberal officials in New York, Governor Cuomo and Big Bird Bill de Blasio in particular, is they're trying to claim that Saipov was radicalized while in the United States. Bullcrap. BS. He was part of ISIS and he was radicalized before he came to the United States. They're just trying to cover their own tracks because we don't have a proper vetting system in place because of political correctness. He was a radicalized Muslim before he came into America. They allowed him to come in. He then brought in at least 23 others with him through this ridiculous policy of chain migration. This is how ISIS is conquering us, one step, one day at a time. And it's time, my friends, that we said enough is enough. And instead of recognizing our vulnerabilities, instead of recognizing that the enemy, that radical Islamic terrorism, is using our obsession with diversity and tolerance and multiculturalism as a weapon against us. Listen now to Chuck U. Schumer. I thought he was going to cry again. I thought he was going to start crying again, mentioning the Statue of Liberty. Remember when he was crying about extreme vetting? That, having a moratorium on some of these Muslim countries? This is so un-American. The Statue of Liberty is crying. I thought he was going to cry. There he was on the Senate floor saying, this is not leadership. To call me out on the diversity visa program? Hey, George W. Bush, Georgie, he never would have done it. Roll it, Brittany.
Pledged to do what was ever in his power to help our city. President Bush, in a moment of national tragedy, understood the meaning of his high office and sought to bring our country together. President Trump, where is your leadership? The contrast between President Bush's actions after 9/11 and President Trump's actions this morning could not be starker. Again, Mr. President, President Trump, where is your leadership?
Where is your leadership? Where is your leadership? Where's your responsibility? Where's your saying, I'm going to be held accountable? How come you're not willing to own up and man up and say, you know what? I created a program that makes no economic sense, no sense in terms from an immigration perspective at all. Okay, completely no common sense at all. We're just taking immigrants for the sake of taking immigrants from countries all over the world because we have to be the world. We are the world. And these ISIS terrorists have used your program against us. Used the loopholes that you created against us. And instead of saying, we got a problem, shut it down, you're trying to blame the president? Are you freaking kidding me? Where's your leadership? And here's the shocking thing. Here is the absolute shocking thing. They knowingly allowed massive Muslim migration into this country, knowing that many of it was coming from Islamist hotspots from all over the world. The bill to shut down the diversity visa program has been languishing in the Republican-led Congress for months. For months. You want to hear a statistic that will blow your mind? This is the only statistic you need to know about what is happening to our country. From 2001 to 2015, these are the latest numbers, the United States has issued 1.83 million, let's just round it off, 2 million green cards to Muslims from all over the world. 2 million green cards to Muslims from all over the world. Since 9/11, that's the point. In a post-9/11 world, we have been issuing green cards like it's candy. And they have been coming in from Iraq, from Syria, from the Sudan, from Ethiopia, from Somalia, from Uzbekistan, from Pakistan, from Kazakhstan, from Chechnya. And we have no idea who these people are. We have no idea who their connections are. And radical Islamic terrorists have been coming in through our legal immigration system. It's got to end. And when Trump imposes a moderate moratorium, just a moderate moratorium on immigration from 8 countries, 2 of whom, by the way, have nothing to do with Islam, North Korea and Venezuela. But let that go. Okay, let that go. some left-wing judge, some resistor, some anti-Trump resistor, quote unquote, has the power to block the President of the United States, when they try to do the most minimal thing to try to keep our country safe, there is some lower court judge, some left-wing hack, who has the power to overrule the president and essentially control our foreign policy. And so here's what I think now needs to be done. Number one, the diversity visa program, this lottery program, must be abolished on the spot. Number two, every person sponsored by this animal, Sayfulo Saipov, all 23 of his family members or friends, deport him right away. And it is now time for Congress to act. And act by saying that they will no longer allow, they will restrict and roll back the jurisdiction of lower courts to impact immigration policy. It is time for Congress to tell these left-wing judges, you don't run America, you're not the commander-in-chief, the president is. 617-266-6868 is the number. Let me ask you the $64,000 question. Does Chuck Schumer and do those that supported the diversity visa program, do they have blood on their hands? And is it now time to think the unthinkable? Is it time to impose a moratorium on all Muslim migration? 617-266-6868. Your calls next. It's time to end the diversity visa program. America for Americans, not America for the world. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, is it time to end the diversity visa program? And is it time for a full moratorium on all Muslim migration? Is it time for a temporary Muslim ban? Your calls after this short news break. Let's take it to, is it Jackie today, Brittany? Let's take it to Jackie Murphy in the newsroom. 1236 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends, big major announcement tomorrow at 2:35. I hope all of you can tune in. We also will be having a special live show here on WRKO. I will be hosting it. Dr. Grace will be joining me as well. It's going to be this Saturday, 9 a.m. until noon. Live call-in show. I hope all of you can tune in as well. Lines are loaded, 617-266-6868. It is now breaking. 23 other people were sponsored by the ISIS butcher, Sayfulo Saipov, after he was brought in here under the diversity visa program because of chain migration. 23 others were brought in as well. ISIS is clearly using the diversity visa program to infiltrate the United States. I say deport all 23 of them. Agree, disagree. Jeff and Chelsea, you're up first. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yes, Jeff, I agree with you 110% on everything you just said, but let me throw a log into the fire in the form of a question and a thought. Study World War II. Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed an executive order to intern Japanese Americans. Now, will Donald Trump do the same thing for Muslims in this country, particularly foreign-born, and particularly those of Saudi Arabian descent? What do you think?
Well, Jeff, thank you for that call. Look, I think at a minimum, the numbers are crucial because numbers are everything. Nearly 2 million Muslims since 9/11 have been given green cards and allowed to live and permanently reside in the United States. They come overwhelmingly, not from countries, say, like, I don't know, Indonesia, or there are certain Muslim countries in the world where ISIS or radical Islamic terrorism is not a massive prevalent problem. They come instead, primarily, they're coming in from Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Somalia. the stands, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, like this guy, Kyrgyzstan, Chechnya in the Caucasus. So we are bringing in potential jihadists at an alarming rate. We're bringing this problem onto ourselves. That's what we're doing. But here's the kicker. Okay, this is from the Pew Research Center. Over 60% of those that have been given green cards are adults. Overwhelmingly male. We're asking for it. We're literally asking for it. And on top of all of this, again, it's like the same pattern keeps repeating itself. So now we find out, guess what? Like in San Bernardino, like with the Tsarnaevs, the FBI was suspicious of Sepov, okay, the Uzbek, because he had downloaded thousands of terrorist videos on his iPhone. And so the FBI interviewed him. They obviously were extremely suspicious. And guess what? Like with San Bernardino, like with the Tsarnaevs, I could run down the whole list. They dropped the ball and let him slip right through the cracks in the name of political correctness. Because all he had to do was scream Islamophobia. Okay, you don't like that one. Tell me if this is not familiar. Now neighbors are admitting that they were suspicious of him, that he seemed mysterious, suspicious, erratic. They didn't like his behavior, that of his wife, his 19-year-old jihadi bride, who, by the way, tell me if this is not familiar. She knew nothing. I know nothing. I got herder from Uzbekistan. I just love goat milk. That's it. That's all. Why you look at me? I know nothing. I never knew my husband planning terrorist attack. I love America. I love America. So, the wife is playing stupid. The kids are playing stupid. The family's playing stupid. And the neighbors who said it was all suspicious activity, yet they refused to report it. Political correctness literally is killing us. Andy in Nebraska. Go ahead, Andy.
Hey, Jeff, welcome back.
Welcome.
So first
Thank
of
you.
all, I have a couple of points I'd like to make.
Yes.
So my girlfriend was caught in the Moscow metro bombing, and what was the trend? Oh, it was from Chechnya. Her grandparents were caught in the St. Petersburg. Her mom was caught in the St. Petersburg attack. What's the trend? Oh, another Uzbek. Do they do out of touch New World Order elitists like Chuck Schumer not realize a problem coming out of the Caucasus in Central Asia?
Andy, you're completely right. And look, go ahead, keep going, Andy. You're on a roll.
Oh, and so both me and my girlfriend were talking about this, when Trump signed the first executive order on the travel ban. It didn't go far enough, and with those two regions having affected her particularly hard, she predicted that this would come back to bite us in the rear end.
Well, and Andy, look, I'm not, and thank you for that call. Look, I don't care for KGB officers. You know what the KGB did to my family. I come from an anti-communist family in Eastern Europe. I don't care for Vladimir Putin. I don't care for Vladimir Putin's past. But the fact of the matter is, this is exactly what Putin's been warning us now for over 10 years. That Central Asia is a massive hotbed of Islamic extremism. The Russians know their neighbors. That the Caucasus are a hotbed of Islamic extremism. They know it's in their own country. And so the Russians have been telling us for a long time that there is a major radical Islam problem coming out of Central Asia, coming out of Syria, coming out of Iraq, coming out of Chechnya, coming out of the Caucasus, and yet we deliberately turn a blind eye again and again and again. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. On this one issue, because it affects the Russians directly, and they've had schools bombed, they've had subways bombed, they've had citizens had their throats slit by these Islamic jihadists. We share a common interest with them and a common enemy with them. So when it comes to the issue of radical Islamic terrorism, why do we not partner with the Russians? Instead, we have this boogeyman that the deep state has created to try to revive another Cold War for the military-industrial complex, and they want a convenient enemy because Putin is a foe of globalism and the New World Order. That's just a fact. And they've turned this guy into the greatest monster of our time. Well, let me ask you, how many Russian nationalists are mowing people down in New York City? How many? I'm just asking. How many great Russian nationalists are they taking trucks and mowing them down, say, in New York or in France or in England? How many of them are hijacking planes and into buildings? I'm just curious. How many Russians go to buildings in San Bernardino and just shoot them up? And notice, he was caught with an ISIS flag. In fact, he had ISIS notes. He had notes talking about his allegiance to ISIS. He is in hospital now. He was boasting to the NYPD that he killed 8 people. He's openly boasting of his achievement. And after he mowed these people down in front of numerous witnesses, he yelled out, Allahu Akbar! Allah Akbar! And CNN runs on television. Jake Tapper, that fraud, that phony, says, but you know, in Arabic, Allahu Akbar, it just means God is great. It's a beautiful saying. Oh, it's beautiful. It's just a beautiful thing. Don't you demonize Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar is a beautiful saying. Jeff Kuhner wants to say a prayer at a school, and I'm a fascist. A Muslim terrorist yells out Allahu Akbar. What's the problem? Don't you say a bad word about Islam, Jeff. It's like gun control. No matter how many get killed, it's always the same answer from the liberals. Like a tape. Like they've been pre-programmed, like drones. 6-1. Islam good, America bad. Oh, and lone wolf. That's another one. Lone wolf. It's always a lone wolf. ISIS is telling us it's not a lone wolf. That there was a network, there's a vast network in the United States. No, it's lone wolf. Jeff, shut up. Lone wolf, keep moving. He attended a radical mosque. The mosque, one of the mosque goers, on record. I totally get what he did. He goes, I totally get what he did. A person who attended his mosque says, jihad, 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 good. And we're letting them in? Under the guise of diversity? Like really, like America needs Uzbek goat herders. Like really, for some reason, America is not America unless you bring in goat herders from Uzbekistan. It's not the same, according to Chuck Schumer. Liberalism is a mental disorder. And that's why the mosques need to be monitored. The Islamic imams need to be deported right away. The diversity visa program needs to stop. And it's time for a moratorium on all Muslim migration. Not just those 8 countries. All of them, full stop. And if CARE doesn't like it, you know what you tell them? Blank off. Or, in language they understand, Allahu Akbar. Sam in Boston. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi.
I'm going to tell you how easy it is for a person to get in this country. A dear friend of mine applied in Ireland, and she simply filled out, there's a form you fill out, it's an abbreviated form for immigration. She sent it in. She didn't need any picture or anything. She went into the lottery, and she was selected. She got a letter. She had to bring the letter, the full form, and a picture ID with her. So when she got that paper, they had no idea who they were giving that paper to. And she was offered money for that letter from other people to come to this country. That's how easy it is to get in this country right now with that lottery.
Bingo. Look, Sam, thank you for that call. And I want to reinforce what you're saying because there's some really good text. You can text us, by the way, at 680-680. because this is now the last bastion of truth and free speech is now in conservative talk radio and shows like this. Because you're not going to get this now from CNN or MSNBC or the entire mainstream media apparatus. Because now they're in full cover-up mode. Quote, this is from 781. Jeff, a lot of people who win this lottery, this diversity visa lottery, will sell it in their home countries. Of course. The most prized possession in the world is a visa and a green card to come and live in America. And if I'm an Islamic terrorist, see, you have to understand it from his warped, perverted point of view. A visa, a green card, is not just the way to come to America. It's the path to paradise. It's the path to paradise, to heaven, to eternity, to his 72 virgins, forever. I guess feeding him grapes or whatever. Okay, or I guess, I don't know, camel jerky, whatever these guys, whatever floats their boat. That's all they care about, is being with Allah in paradise. You kill Americans on American soil, outside of killing Jews in Israel, that is the highest honor for any jihadist or martyr for the Islamist cause. You get one of these babies, you can sell them on the black market in the Muslim world and feed your entire family for the rest of your life. Shut this program down now.
I am today starting the process of terminating the diversity lottery program. I'm going to ask Congress to immediately initiate work to get rid of this program.
You had me at hello. Arthur in Chestnut Hill. Go ahead, Arthur.
Chuck Schumer is the same guy that when Congress was passing the bill to allow people to sue the Saudis, he put in a last-minute item that watered it way down, which made it difficult. Aside from that, he's a disgrace as an American, a politician, and a Jew. I mean, to do this to his own people, these people who come into this country, and as a Jewish person, they hate us, okay? They hate the Jewish people, and yet, what are they going to contribute to America? They're not Christian or Judeo. We do not tolerate Christian or Judeo values anymore. We can't say Merry Christmas, but we have to bend over in schools to put out there any of their wishes for diet or prayer or anything. Yet we're not allowed to pray in schools like we did when I first came to this country.
Arthur, bingo. You nailed it. Look, I want everybody to think about this. You want to know liberalism in a nutshell? Here it is. Merry Christmas is banned in public schools. Allahu Akbar is a beautiful saying. Merry Christmas, banned. Allahu Akbar, beautiful. They not only can say it, they provide them with prayer rooms and mats and rugs to pray. That's liberalism for you in a nutshell. I've said it before and I'll say it again. A liberal would rather commit suicide than stand up to jihadism. Liberals at their core are fundamentally cowards. They would rather have themselves killed, commit suicide, than stand up to radical Islam. And that's the truth. Tony in Gloucester. Go ahead, Tony.
Just an idea, Jeff. Why can't we do extreme vetting here in the United States? Have all the we always say there's good Muslims, so they got nothing to worry about. Have them go to Homeland Security, go through a process. They find someone like this guy, send them to Gitmo until they sort it all out. But why not just vet them here? They're here now. Let's do it.
When you say, Tony, vet them here, how do you mean exactly by vet them here?
You bring them here. You want to go? Okay, give me your Facebook code. Give me whatever it is. I want to look on your computer. All right. I want to see what you've been looking at, what you've been reading. Wouldn't take that long with technology. Let's see if they've been involved. Do you go to a mosque? What mosque do you go to? Oh, well, that's a radical mosque. We need to look at you more closely. We have the ways and means, and it wouldn't take much. President Trump could do it. Just order. But what would they have against just coming in and registering so we know exactly where they are?
Tony, do you think it's time to register all Muslims in this country?
I firmly do. And I firmly do. And I got one more thing to say, because I make the analogy, too. We're always talking about, in World War II, with Japanese and Germans. The difference is, these people these people commit suicide in glory. And I'm sorry, but the Japanese in this country didn't do it. We know the kamikazes did. That was different. And the Germans didn't do this. This is a totally different situation and a totally different ideology.
Tony, thank you very much for that call. Okay, let me ask you this. Should this Uzbek, Saipov, be sent to Guantanamo Bay and be given the death penalty? Trump says yes, and stunning new information. Within a few decades, Muslims will surpass Jews as the second biggest religion in America. Good thing, bad thing, those stories, your calls, next.
The voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 93.7 WEEI HD2 Lawrence, Boston. It's 1 o'clock.